All right, Jeff, let's talk about the second Saturday game. It's the Rams versus the Seahawks in an NFC West playoff matchup. As of Wednesday, the Seahawks are favored by 4 points, and the point total is set pretty low at 42.5. Now, the Rams, they finished with a 10-6 record. They finished in the 6th seed position. Jared Goff remains uncertain to play in this game, so we may see John Wolford again. He played okay against the Cardinals, I guess. 58% completion, 231 yards, 1 interception. I guess that's as good as you could expect. Now, the Seahawks, they won the NFC West with a 12-4 record, taking the 3rd seed in the NFC. Blows my mind, especially with how hot they started off, that I honestly at one point thought this team was going to be undefeated, but I digress. The defense. Jeff, these teams have played each other already twice this season. They've split it 1-1. Seahawks favored by 4, Rams 4-point dogs. I don't know. The Rams, they allow a league low 18.5 points per game and have yielded more than 24 in the past 8 weeks. Will it be enough to hold off Russell Wilson in that Seahawks offense?
Well, again, Sean McVay is doing what a good coach would do. He's not going to tell you who his quarterback is. And that makes this one really, really hard to handicap because, Wolford did do a good job for his first start in the National Football League last week. 258 yards, like you said, over 50 yards rushing. I don't think that's – I heard a statistic. I can't verify this because I haven't had time, but I think that's the first time they say that's ever happened for a first-time starter in the National Football League. So that's an incredible accomplishment by that kid. But this is the Seahawks defense now. And when you look at the Seahawks defense, they went through that stretch where they were really struggling. But in the last month, OJ, they are the #1 scoring defense in the National Football League. And they're coming into this game with confidence. They're coming into this game having beaten the beaten the Rams the last time they played them. I think the schematics of this game were really interesting to me as I watched the 2 previous games. The Rams really, I thought, outcoached the Seahawks the first game, and then the Seahawks came back, and their defensive plan against Jared Goff last time was impeccable. And what they did was they made the Rams one-dimensional. They took away the run and made Goff beat them. And Goff's not capable of beating them when they're one-dimensional. He needs the running game. He needs balance in the offense. He needs, the speed sweeps and the bootlegs and all the things that make their offense special. If he has to go behind the chains and get in the drop back game, it's going to be tough. And the same thing would be true of John Wolford. I like the Seahawks. I thought that was a character win they showed last week against San Francisco in a game that, quote, didn't mean anything. They had to come down at the end and drive to win it, and that's what really good football teams do. And again, when you compare playoff football, the first place you start is with the quarterbacks. And in my mind, there's no comparison, even if Goff does play, between Goff and Russell Wilson. So I like the Seahawks in this game.
Yeah, I like the Seahawks as well. I mean, these 2 teams saw each other, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the Seahawks handled them pretty well. You made a good point talking about how well the defense has played in the last 3 games. Coming from where they started off this season, it was like historically bad, but it looks like they're coming into form right at the right time, right? And that's usually who ends up making those deep runs, those teams that get hot at the right time. Last time they played, I wanted to emphasize this because it cost me some money and some prop bets. Cooper Kupp was held to 66 yards, and Robert Woods was held to 48 yards. Literally, looking at the box score, nobody stood out. And, Jared Goff, he threw for, over 300? No, he threw for 234 yards, threw an interception, 0 touchdowns. So that Seahawks defense was holding up in the red zone. The Rams only scored 9 points. And if you can keep Cooper Kupp down, I know people talk a lot about Robert Woods, but to me, Cooper Kupp is the X factor for the Rams on offense. If they can keep him under 80 yards in this game, I think it's for sure win. And just to talk about the quarterback thing, I know for a fact that Jared Goff has been throwing in practices and stuff over there in LA. I don't think there's a chance in hell that he doesn't start this game. But Sean McVay's doing what he should do, is say, I don't know who's going to start. I get it. It's cool. But I do think that Jared Goff is going to play, which makes the game a little bit more intriguing. But with that being said, I think the Seahawks win. Really hard to say if I think that they cover by 4 because it is a divisional game nonetheless. And Aaron Donald is still over there on defense. But I'm going to say the Rams cover. I feel it. I feel it in my bones. The Rams cover. Seahawks win. Now, what do you think about the point total? It is ridiculously low. What did we say that it was at? 42.5 points. What do you think about that?
That's as low as I think I've ever seen, OJ. And I just really think that these teams, while they're quarterback deficient in Los Angeles, and all the controversy about that, Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, they'll get in the end zone. I recognize the Rams have a great defense. I'm not trying to take anything away from that defense because they've earned it. But 42.5. Wow. I mean, that is low. And it's hard for me to see that these two teams won't score 20 points apiece. Basically, what you're talking about. So, I'm going to say over.
I'm going to go with the over too because it's 2021 now and 42.5 is so low. We even see DC is scoring more points than that in their game. So come on now, 42.5. Nope, not happening. Now, for some reason, I'm incredibly wrong and Jared Goff does not play in this game. Consider taking the under. But I thoroughly believe that Jared Goff is going to play. So for that reason, I'm saying that it goes over. All right, guys, there you have it. Seahawks and Rams. Who you got? Let us know in the comments below what you got. What you thinking?